Fine, sir.
Hello, hello. Hello.
Listen, I want to thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
This man here, beautiful, beautiful human being.
Thank you,
Let's get
thank you.
into Ian Complex.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Because with you being, head of PRO, I
Yeah.
thought it was more of a media thing, having
Yeah.
complex, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
apparently
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah,
the
yeah.
story. So
No.
let's get into that.
Yeah, so it's kind of connected, kind of tied loosely.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I was trying to find my artist name. I was going by Ian the Gambino for a long time. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't be so tied to the man, Charles Gambino.
I feel you.
And so I went online to try and find like some online name generator stuff. And none of it was really fitting. It just felt weird.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was a really big fan of Brockhampton.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Abstract's real name was Ian.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's funny that I go by Ian, da-da-da. And then I watched a video on, I think it was some other network, and they were making fun of Complex. So they had like a fake reporter, and they're like, welcome back to Abstract News. So I was like, that's so funny. I'm going to take Complex because of Kevin Abstract, and I'm going to take it for myself. So it was Ian Complex. And from there, I started running with it. So, yeah, that was the inspiration for it. Just a funny little...
I like that. How it was an inside joke with yourself.
Right,
but
right,
it
right.
fits, though. It rolls off the tongue really nice. I like it.
It goes, yeah, yeah.
I ain't going to hold you.
Thank you.
So tell us about Procrastination Radio,
Yeah.
how it got started, why did you make it,
Yeah.
why do you think there was a need for it?
Yeah, so Procrastination Radio was a project that I wanted to do kind of randomly, and it stemmed from me being very excited about a lot of things. I always wanted to have a brand. There was a collective I started with the homies that didn't really go anywhere, and it just was a lot of that. I felt like I was waiting on people, and I had a very supportive family. My aunt was always like, "You want to make this shirt? Let's go make this shirt." And I had a lot of brand ideas and a lot of just excitement about getting stuff out there, but I didn't have the follow through. So every time I would kind of get up to do an idea, I was like, all right, I'll save it for later. Then years passed, and then by the time I got to making Procrastination Radio, I just had graduated high school. So I was like, I need something that works as a show, that works and flows and combines my music love with my movie love, my creative love. I can talk. It initially didn't start as an interview-based platform. It was just going to be me kind of doing mixes and doing a bunch of stuff, kind of showing off the music I had. And then it kind of blossomed into what it is now. But it really serves and still serves as a reminder that with everything, you can have amazing intentions and amazing support and amazing following or whatever, but you need to be consistent with yourself. So I have this big reminder every whenever I drop an episode that I need to stop procrastinating. I need to get myself out there, even if it's in a small way. So yeah, it's been there. It's been doing that for the past 4 years. It's been reminding me.
Stop procrastinating.
Yeah, stop procrastinating.
Got you.
So yeah, it's been cool.
Dope. And and the radio show.
Yeah,
that's on pause right now.
Yeah, so initially they were the same entity. Procrastination Radio was just an interview-based radio show. So I would do interviews and interplay them with mixes and splice them with music. And then I realized from a monetary sense that I couldn't necessarily put copyrighted music on a podcast and mass produce that. Yeah. So I decided a while back to separate the podcast from the radio show. And so now the radio show is coming back in a different way. Got a bunch of local artists and musicians and DJs that are going to come on and kind of show their exact music taste. Because that's the one thing I want to do with this platform specifically is not kind of cater to what everybody wants to listen to, because I think that everybody has inside them what they love, and I want to bring people who are like so excited that they can't even contain it, and I want to see what that music looks like, what that feels like. And yeah, so it's gonna be fun. PRFM coming soon.
PRFM,
yeah.
I enjoy that so much. And so, other than a want to try to remind yourself, hey, don't procrastinate, get on this, jump on it.
Yeah.
Was Procrastination Radio, was it a way? Did you notice a disconnect between creatives that made you want to start this? That was like, hey, or was it more of a I want to highlight you guys because everybody's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
So let's put it in one centralized location and push it.
That's a really good question because I think coming up, how I did was very interesting. I feel like I was a little disconnected from the Broward scene.
Oh wow.
Because that's where we found out before. So I felt, for whatever reason it was, that I didn't really understand where everybody was coming from. And I transferred from a school in Miami in high school to a more creative arts school to support my writing.
Where?
It's called Carve. Yeah, so like it was like kind of like a scholarship situation there where it was just there to like kind of birth my writing style and give me more support in that way. And through that, I felt just so kind of lost and so singular, where I was like, man, I'm the only one doing this.
Right.
And so when I got out of that and started going to college, I was like, oh no, I ain't the only one doing this. I'm kind of a small ant in this colony of creatives. So that was kind of the vehicle for me, and it's still happening now. Just going to Miami, going to these shows, and kind of investing in that community and giving back so much to me. Like the amount of people who show love and show different things. And it's funny like how closely the Miami and Broward scenes are, but it's like even when you go to a Miami show, they're kind of like, "You're not from here." Like,
yeah, they can tell.
They're like you
they can tell.
You're not doing certain things. So it's cool for that reason, just to be a fish out of water and experience things that way. So that brings even more intrigue to me when I'm like, "Yo, what are you doing? Come on my show. Let's have a conversation about why you love art so much, why you love creativity, why you can't stop this."
Right.
So yeah.
I wanted to know too.
Yeah.
You just had an event. It was at Lot 11 skateboard. You know what's crazy? I work like right down the street from that lot. I could have slid. It was just it was a Saturday.
Yeah,
was it not?
It was Sunday.
Father's
Day,
yeah, I just wasn't at work. But it wasn't far from the crib. So was that something you put on, or you just were a part of?
I was a part of it. Shout out to Humberto. He's been running a company called Let's Get Together for a minute.
Should we get together with her? That sounds like we need to.
No, y'all should link up. Y'all should talk. Yeah. Homestead boy. Yeah. Yeah, he's always showed love to me from the early days, and we always try to figure out somehow to work together. So it was really kind of a funny thing. He's just like, "Hey, you want to curate the music for this event?" I was like, yeah.
So did he let you pick performers?
Yeah, so I picked up the lineup. Shout out Sasha.
Shout out Sasha.
One of the first people lined up, and everybody else on that lineup. But yeah, so I did. I curated the event and did some mixing for the event, and I think that was like. It kind of showed me that I really need to be doing what I'm doing just to be in that atmosphere of the event space. I thought that's a whole other
that's a whole
other monster that I
want to
like,
jump into it so bad, but damn, that seems like a headache.
Oh my day! Like I wasn't even involved too much, and it's still a migraine on the side. You feel me?
Like, maybe let's not.
Yeah, but I think doing something that's so communal like music, so like international, something that communicates for you. I think feeling the energy of it and seeing how people react. Like I'm a little nerd. I'm a little student. So just looking at how the other DJs react to my mix, like what was making the crowd excited, and thinking like, okay, so that works for Miami. What's gonna come and do the same for Broward? What genres are missing? Like why wouldn't they go crazy for jazz? So.
I like that. I like that you like to intertwine that and test it, because most people won't. Most people stay, all right, this works. Don't do nothing else. Don't change shit. If they want to hear Kodak all night, hear Kodak all night.
Right. But it's being smart about like, okay, so why do they want to hear Kodak?
Yeah, like,
let me be intentional.
Who else sounds like him that I can infuse?
Exactly. Who else sounds like this that only has like 200 followers on Spotify?
I like how you big brain that.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
Thank you.
So I have a question. Like, you make a lot of waves. You're involved in a lot of scenes.
What?
Who impacted you in that way? Who or what? Because I heard you speak earlier about, you have family members, support family, and I feel like that's a big thing when your family is behind you, right?
For sure.
Like, but who touched Ian on the shoulder or told Ian like, hey, it's gonna be you. You're gonna do this, or what was your "it's gonna be me" moment?
That's a really good question. I think going back to the family, like my dad, like looking at this set, I'm just like, oh yeah, Pop showed me a bunch of this stuff.
Shout out Prime Shots for the set. Shout out Prime Shots.
100%.
But go ahead, my
boy.
But
just being so enveloped, like my family is so musical to the point where I kind of ran away from it, and that's what led me to screenwriting.
Oh shit.
So I think.
He was like, "Oh, y'all boys do a lot."
No, yeah. I was like, "Yeah, I'm off that. I don't need that.
Cool.
I'm good. Yeah, that's too much." But I think just all of the mentors I made along the way, and that could be somebody who's my age, who's younger than me. But I think especially like the art teachers and the people who taught me how to understand creativity. Like the slogan for Procrastination Radio is "Art is air," and so I think when it clicked for me that this is something I do daily through everything. How I dress, how I lotion my skin. It might, it's weaved into everything. Creativity is in everything. So I think all the people in my life, like my father, the homie Mickey Brown, my art teachers, best friends, like old partners. It's like all of these people showing support and showing even like disaster, just every nuance of emotion I feel like impacted me, and I kind of wear that on my shoulder to go into every situation, but I always tell my dad, my dad gave me music, my mom gave me movies,
and I like that.
That's how I run with it.
That's kind of a nice way of saying I like her.
Yeah.
But I like you too, Dad.
Right. No,
everybody's together.
I'm both of y'all. I'm the combination.
I feel you. And how long do you see first of all, before I even get there, is there plans for expansion for PRO?
100%. I think with Procrastination Radio, initially the idea was to track it far into the future where I'm no longer even a part of it, like to hand it off
where it works for itself,
because you have to be aware of how trends work and how the music industry is. Like at some point I'm gonna be out of touch. There's already so much going on with TikTok everything else, like it's hard to keep up.
At this fucking point, I'm like, damn, what are these kids talking about?
Exactly.
And I'm only 22.
Exactly. It's like I'm a jit, but like these jits are more.
Yeah.
Type of, so, definitely going into more shows, more scripted shows, getting into the writer background. Want to do some audio dramas. There's been a lot of audio dramas in development.
Have you ever thought of this is a break from what we talked about, but have you ever thought of a street team for PRO? We'll get into that. Okay, we'll get into that. No, we'll get into that.
You're right there. But I want to expand, especially because I'm the only one doing it right now. Yeah. Majority wise, to just have people like Luke saying, go into these events and being like, hey, what do you think of this? And then having content that's from Florida, of these creatives, giving them support.
Hear me out, right?
Yeah.
Whoever you had in the last episode, if they have a show, right when they get off stage. So how was it?
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
No.
Let me stop.
100%.
Is your company?
No, 100%.
It's yours, sir. It's yours, sir.
No, but like I said, I'm a sponge. I'm a student, so I feel like you can get into this kind of industry per se, or into this line of work and want to be so closed off and shut off to the other ideas, especially when you know they're right. Yeah. Like that's a good idea that I've thought about before, but sometimes it just takes somebody being like, "Yo, you should do this," to be like,
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Why haven't I been doing this?
Sometimes that push.
Exactly.
I feel you. And it's so good that you're open to that.
100%.
Because you could have said, I'm getting there.
No, exactly.
No, what else?
No, exactly. And I think that's what's ultimately gonna grow the brand. And I want people who come on to be a part of it to think that way. It's like, no matter where we are, we could be 22 or 65. Like,
as long as you have the same vision,
let's do it. And we don't know nothing. Like we don't know anything, and there's always time to learn.
Yes.
So I think that's what makes the conversations great on the show. I think that's what makes the engagement with music really great. Is that people are coming to showcase and share themselves. They're being really honest and open.
Yes.
And I think if anything, that's what I want to push.
Art is vulnerability.
It is 100%.
So how long do you see yourself? I know you said you want to get it to a point where it's not in complex.
Right.
They're separate, but they're one, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So how long?
How long do I see myself doing it?
PRO?
I think as long as I can go.
I like that that's everybody's answer.
I think at some point, like I said, I'm going to have to surrender to just not being as tapped in as I was. And I would love to do that and just be an enjoyer. Yeah. Just be a bystander. Like, oh man, what's about to go on a Procrastination Radio account?
Like you wake up and your page is surprising.
Right. I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of fire. I ain't know to do that. That's tight. That's tight.
I feel you.
But I think, again, like going back to the slogan, like art is air for me. So in some way I'm going to be involved. Like whether that's the production, whether that's writing, whether that's directing, or it's like making covers for people. It's like, I do this for my day job at this point now. So it's like,
oh, that's dope.
Yeah, like this is, I want to get it to a place where this is all that I'm doing, but I think, again, learning from the 9 to 5 and everything I'm doing there, it just showed me that there's a path for this. Yeah. And as long as I'm consistent and start building and making connections and, again, being vulnerable to critique and just being able to be like, oh yeah, I did that bad. We got to move. We got to go forward. It's what's going to keep me around.
Progression is motion.
100%.
I feel like
100%.
It's Motion for sure. And I want to thank you, sir.
Yes, no problem. Thank you.
This is a beautiful interview. This is a beautiful, beautiful soul right here. And he's going to do great things. I see it. Like, it's, we here.
We here. No, we right there.
I just met this man.
Yeah.
Like, this is my first time seeing him in person. Yeah. It was just phone conversations about getting him here.
Yeah.
And now that he's here, I'm so glad that we met. I hope we stay tapped in.
Same. 100%.
By the time y'all see this, I hope that Procrastinating Radio is at 1 million followers because it should be. If you have not checked out PR, I'm gonna
take that.
If you have not checked out PRO, please do so. Yeah. Tell them where they can find you, sir.
Procrastination Radio on everything. iancomplex on everything. Got music out. Got scripts out. Got a bunch of stuff. Production, music.
Listen, man, plug yourself.
If you need anything.
Plug yourself.
Come find me. I'm right here.
Plug yourself,
right here.
Black man. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. Thank you guys so much. I want to say one last thing too, as far as expansion. When you want to like ease off and let people take over PRO, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
A brand and Visionary, who's also on your episode, a different guest. When they started out, they were hand heavy in everything.
Yeah.
Now, they don't touch much.
That's
because they put trust in individuals.
Exactly.
So you'll get there. I believe it.
It's gonna happen.
I believe it. Watch out for Ian Complex.